Dr. Maxwell Maltz said, "Seeking to be someone is universal, but a mistake when we seek it in conformity."
Hello and welcome back to another Spiritual Sunday in the Sauna. So recently I was reading about, or hearing about, I honestly can't remember, this idea of authenticity as a magnet. If you just think about the people that you love most, the people that you admire most, there's probably a certain level of authenticity about them, a certain level of sincerity and honesty and maybe vulnerability. And really underneath all of those things is a sense of humility. In order to be authentic, in order to be fully ourselves, there has to be some level of humility, or else we'd be just putting up a front all the time. And I really saw this come to life when I was on a call with a couple of friends, and we were joining a challenge, starting a challenge all together, and a couple of them knew each other, but I brought in a great friend of mine who didn't know anybody on the call except for me. And she just got on there and was just totally herself. She kind of poured her heart out for a couple minutes and said some comments here and there that honestly for a moment I was like, oh my gosh, she's really saying it. She's really just being her full self. And I loved it. But it honestly, for a split second, sort of took me back. I wasn't fully expecting it. I just didn't know how she would act in this environment. And it was beautiful and amazing. And I really didn't think too much about it once the call was ended. But then one of my friends who was on the call, who was leading the group, immediately texted me and said, "How do you know this girl? She's amazing. I love her already." And I thought, oh my gosh, I had that split second moment of, oh, she's really going to be herself. Great, love it. But with a little bit of surprise. And because she was fully herself and just said what was on her mind in an appropriate manner, she said what was on her mind and she just spoke from the heart. It really connected with the other women in the group, and they were drawn to her sort of as you are drawn to a magnet, as a magnet is drawn to something that is magnetic, the negative and the positive. And it was just a perfect illustration of this fact that authenticity is a magnet. And when we show up as our full, wonderful, perfectly imperfect, beautiful selves, unapologetically, it can serve as a magnet for other people. And not that that's the main goal, to attract people, but we are naturally attracted to those people who are sincerely themselves. And if you're somebody who maybe is struggling with meeting people or community or making friends or keeping friends or anything that has to do with relationships, maybe it's in a work setting, maybe it's in any other kind of professional setting, just try to show up a little bit more authentically every day. And if it's 1% more authentically, 1% more sincerely, great, you did it. Just 1% more, and see how that compounds over time. And going back to this idea of humility, in order to show up as our full selves, pride has to go to the wayside. Pride has to be thrown in the garbage, honestly, or flushed down the toilet and never to be seen again. Humility is what helps us to uncover who we truly are, being able to look at ourselves in the mirror and go, yep, this is actually me. This is how I'm showing up today. This is how, whatever, this is how I'm feeling. Or yeah, I have this quirk and I'm not going to try and hide it. I'm not going to try and pretend that I'm somebody that I'm not. I'm not going to try to gain praise. I'm just myself. I got cut off last time, so I'm just going to finish up another day. So we were talking about authenticity, and my challenge to you is just to try to be more authentic 1% every day. And maybe before you try to do that, answer the question, what would that look like? What would that feel like? What would it sound like if you showed up as more of yourself, less of some version of yourself you try to portray every single day? What would that look like? What would it feel like? What would it sound like? In your own mind, in the words that you speak, how would it feel in your own body? How would it feel with other people? What would it look like from your perspective through your own eyes? What would it look like for other people looking at you? Maybe answer those questions and then try to step into that and practice it. And the reason why we want to show up more authentically, other than to be a magnet or just to feel more fully ourselves, is to really be and show up as the people that we were created to be. I believe it's an honor to God when we are fully ourselves and not trying to hide and not trying to make ourselves into something that He hasn't made us to be. So honor yourself, honor God, honor the people around you by showing up as you, fully and completely, unapologetically. All right. Have a wonderful Sunday. Have a blessed week, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button or leave a comment. I'd love to hear your feedback. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that the next time I put out a video, you'll be the first to know. See you soon in the next episode.